So for this sequence, we're going to start on our back. So just come onto your back, have the feet hip distance apart, knees hip distance apart, pointed straight forward. And we're just going to start with hands at the side, palms facing straight up. And we're going to take 4 breaths just to bring some awareness to our breath and relax the body. And the breath I want you to use is a 3-part breath. So when you inhale, you're going to feel the stomach fill, the ribs widen, and the chest rise. On the exhale, just release the air and relax through the body, especially the hips. We're going to do that one more time. On your next inhale, bring your left ankle onto your right thigh. Engage into your left foot so the toes are curled towards the shins. Allow that hip to externally rotate, and then you're going to place your left hand on your left thigh, and on an exhale, gently encourage that hip to externally rotate a little bit more. On your inhale, just release pressure and allow the knee to come back in. And just do that 3 more times. Exhale, push out, inhale, release. And just gently warming up that motion of an external rotation into that left hip. And then just coming to stillness. Bring the hand down, and then this might be perfect for you with your hip mobility, or you might inhale and start to bring that right knee in towards your chest. You might come where the left hand comes in between the legs, the right hand comes around the outside of the leg, and you're holding on to the back of the right thigh. As you bring that knee in towards your chest, make sure that your pelvis is flat on the ground. And then you can start with the muscular force in the outside of the hip to press your knee away from you, bringing a further rotation into that left hip. Really see if you can allow the glutes on that left side just to relax and release. On your exhale, just release your thigh. Allow that right foot to come down to the ground, but keep your left ankle exactly where it is. Bring your arms out wide like airplane wings, palms down, and on your exhale, slowly lower your right knee and your left foot over to the right. As you do this, see if you can continue to have that left knee pointed straight up to the ceiling so you still have that external rotation in the left hip. Once you're here, you can turn your gaze to the left, and if you feel you need to get a little bit more intensity into that left hip, keeping the leg onto the ground, you can start to walk your right knee towards your right armpit. Just be here for about 2 more breaths. Focus your exhales on releasing through that left hip. On your next exhale, engage into your core. Then inhale, bring the knees and your gaze back to center. Unwind the legs, bring the knees into the chest, hold on to the shins. And then on your exhale, release your shins. Allow the soles of the feet to come back down to the ground, hip distance apart. Knees point straight up to the ceiling, hip distance apart. Inhale, bring your right ankle onto your left thigh. Remember to engage in that right foot, curling the toes towards the shins. Place your right hand on your right thigh. Allow the hip to externally rotate, and then gently pushing into the thigh, encourage the right hip to externally rotate a little bit more. We'll do that 3 more times, just as we did on the other side. Inhale, release the pressure. Exhale, gently encourage that hip to open. And 1 more time. Then just come back to stillness. And once again, for you, depending on your range of motion, this may be enough opening in the hip and enough stretching through the glutes. Or you might bring that left knee in towards the chest. You might come around and hold on to the back of that left thigh. Remember, as you bring the knee in towards the chest, actively push that right knee out away from you, bringing in further external rotation into that hip. Be here for about 2 more breaths. Focus on releasing any tension in the glutes on that right side. On your exhale, release your thigh. Allow the sole of the foot to come down to the ground. Keep the ankle where it is. Bring the arms out wide like airplane wings, palms down. And then exhale, slowly lower the left knee and the right foot over to the left side. Remember, keep that knee pointed straight up to the ceiling or towards the ceiling so you keep an opening through the hip. You can turn the gaze to the right. And if you need more intensity, you walk that left knee towards the left armpit. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths. On the next exhale, engage into the core. Inhale, bring the knees and the gaze back to center. Unwind the legs, bring the knees into the chest. And then either with 1, 2, or 3 rocks, rocking forward and back, just bring yourself forward onto your seat. Then we're going to come into a low lunge. And we're going to do some movement to get into our hip flexors and then our hamstrings. So you're going to come into a low lunge, have the toes pointed straight forward, knee over ankle to start. Walk your back knee back until you feel a stretch in the back hip flexors. Start to bring that front knee forward a bit. Untuck your back toes. And then just really allow yourself to get into those hip flexors. Use your exhales just to relax and release. Now for our next movement, you can keep the toes untucked. Or if you want to get a little bit of a stretch on the bottom of the foot, you might keep the back toes tucked under. On an inhale, you're going to walk your hands back towards your hip, bringing the front leg towards straight, and you're going to curl the toes back towards the shins. Now, we want to come into the hamstring, and you might come into the calves here. You may need to fold forward a little bit to get that feeling. You may not. Then, on our next exhale, we're going to come forward into the hip flexors. Inhale, come back into the hamstring. Do that one more time. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, come forward. Keep knee right on top of the ankle. And then we're just going to come back with that right knee. We're going to bring the left foot forward, coming into a low lunge. Once again, backing the back knee up until you feel a stretch through the back hip flexors. You can keep toe tucked or untucked toes. Bring that knee forward, and we're just going to hold for about 2 breaths. Really allow the hip flexors in that right leg to relax and release. On the next inhale, either keeping the toes untucked or tucked, start to walk the hands back towards your hips, bringing the front leg towards straight, curling toes towards the shins, and coming into that stretch into the hamstrings and possibly the calves. We'll hold for about 2 breaths. Then we're going to start our movement. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come back. And 2 more times. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, back, and one more. And then come forward. Then you can have the toe tucked under back behind you. Inhale, bring your back knee up. And then exhale, bring your back foot to meet the front. And then slowly roll up to standing. And that is a short sequence. It's perfect for hockey players to get into the hips.